the Election Commission. So indeed, I have been engaging with the Chairman, and my colleagues have been engaging with the Commission more generally to try to identify where the European Union can be most helpful in supporting the conduct of the elections in line with international standards. So that's where we are. We absolutely want the elections, when they are held, to be ones that we can look at and say, this is free and fair, the result is entirely credible, and thank you. And we want to be part of that success story because it will be, if you like, a very significant milestone in your political transition. Not the end of it, I would say, at all, but a very significant milestone that we recognise. So we are in the process of contracting entities that will work with the Commission on domestic election observation, that will work to ensure that your citizens are aware, they have civic education when it comes to the conduct of democratic elections, and we are also working to make sure that disinformation is not something that we see undermining the free and fair conduct of the polls when they happen. Now, it's not all we're planning to do, but this is what we have in the pipeline at this moment. There was a question about timing, and I think that I have to say that timing is a matter for Bangladesh to take a decision upon. We see this political transition as leading up to democratic elections, so that's the important milestone I mentioned. But as the European Union, we don't have an opinion on time, and we are not pressuring anyone to hold elections on a particular date. We do think that there needs to be sufficient time to implement reforms under this interim government, so we think that that is something where a bit of space needs to exist, and this is why, when I spoke earlier about the NCC work, that we think that let us see how much consensus is created according to the timeline foreseen. Our member states are adapting to the evolving situation, so they would now expect citizens to travel to Bangkok, for example, to obtain visas. I understand your concern, and what I can say now is that we have absolutely internalised the request that we see from many quarters to work more on the issuance of visas here. So we will see what is possible. On the issue of the return, or the seizure of assets and its return, so we are as shocked as anyone to see the reports issued from Bangladesh about the extent of money laundering and theft from your financial sector, from your industrial entities in the previous 15 years. When it comes to returning funds, what is very important to stress is that this is not an issue where the EU is going to act. It is our member states who will act, because if you want the recovery of stolen assets, you need to share with our member state judicial authorities sufficient credible evidence so that the judiciary can act. And that is the challenge. So it is coming up with meeting the evidentiary benchmark that will allow us to act. You can be sure that our judicial authorities will act with alacrity when they see evidence of wrongdoing, but it's worth bearing in mind that the recovery of stolen assets tends to take quite some time. It's not for the short term. You tend to see it happening over a number of years because it is a judicial process that has to be gone through.